I took that piercing like a champ. Like, I can't pass out. That's embarrassing. Shawna, are you okay? Are you okay?
I unfortunately am a huge bummer to hang out with. I'm watching lightning strike the fairgrounds, and I'm on this Ferris wheel, and I start bawling. I hated it. Welcome, everybody, to this week's podcast,
where we combine cones and conversation.
My name's Logan.
I'm Shawna.
And we are your freezer friends. So this week has been a lot.
Yes. Well, what 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Since we last recorded. Mm-hmm. Episode 2, new arrangement. You'll see a new backdrop, new lighting. Figure it out a little bit more.
Yeah. It looks pretty good, I think.
Yeah. We had a weird angle. Large table, small room. Not the way to go about this.
Yeah. Well, so we are drinking margaritas.
Well, we went to Target. We bought these $5 margarita glasses, this cute little green color. And then we put a red drink and some sugar. So it looks like we're having a Christmas marg in the middle of August, but that's okay.
I'm going to edit out most of that drinking.
Yeah, that was a lot of swallowing sounds. All right, well, let's start with the most pressing, because it might become an issue as we go on. I got my septum pierced today. Probably can't see it on camera.
We'll post it.
My nose is so swollen you can't even see the actual ring inside my nose, but it just keeps getting stuck. So I have my salt water and my Q-tip. Don't mind me if halfway through the pot I have to decrust my nasal cavity.
I'm more worried about eventually you're just going to see tears coming out of your eyes. And
yeah, that's been happening on and off. Because it just gets stuck and it's trying to because it's just a horseshoe, so it's trying to move, but it's crusted over because it's trying to heal. And if I squinch my nose or stretch my nose or move my mouth a little too much, it decides to cause a problem. So
it looks really good, though. I like it a lot.
Thank you. I wish it was more noticeable, but my nose is also triple in size right now. So
should you tell the story of what happened today?
Let's get into it, because it was a ridiculous day. So my younger sister Shayla and I have had this plan to go get piercings together. She wanted her Medusa, so that's right in, I don't know what this is called. Cupid's bow, I think is what she called it. That little dip above your nose. She wanted a little rhinestone there. And I was like, well, I've been thinking about my septum for about a month, because I saw myself with a Snapchat filter and was like, I could do that. And it's just a piercing, so let's try it. And so she makes the appointment for us, and we get down there, and it hasn't really set in. I'm excited because I'm wanting to get this piercing, but it hasn't really set in that oh yeah, you're getting a piercing. But I have a ton of piercings. I have a ton of tattoos. My pain tolerance is through the roof. I don't have an issue going into these kind of things. So we go back to the room. We've never been to this piercer before, so it was already kind of a new experience, and she's freaking out. She is shaking. She keeps saying, oh, I'm so scared. I'm so scared. And I'm trying to calm her down. I'm playing big sister, but I'm also not freaked out about this. And so he had it set up for me to go first. So I sit down in the chair. He's like, have you done this before? I'm like, yep, I got this. So I sit down, he sterilizes. He does mine. I don't even flinch. I don't cry. I don't squeal. My eye waters. That's it. And that happens with your nose. It's not a big deal. I stand up immediately. I'm perfectly fine. So we switch spots. And basically there's the chair. And it's such a small room, okay? He's got a very small room. I had to step out just so Shayla could come around and get in the chair. That's how small this area was. And I'm already claustrophobic, so we're already building.
I'm already building.
So she's in the chair, and I'm kind of on the side next to her. And this guy was really quiet. And we're having a good time. We're just sisters. We're laughing, and we keep making jokes. And she's freaking out, asking him, what's the pain gonna be? He's like, oh, it's a 3. And, I'm like, oh, don't worry. She's tougher than she sounds. We're just kind of having banter. And this guy's not really saying anything back. So we'll have to go into that, too.
I wanted to grab a clip and have a soundboard to have them
that would
say
have been so good.
It's going to happen It's going to happen next week. Don't worry.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, so she, sits down and everything. We're doing good. And he sterilizes her lip, marks it, grabs it. I watch the needle go through. I watch him thread the actual ring through. I watch him tighten it. He turns to grab the mirror. My sister turns and looks at me. There is the smallest ring of blood around the piercing. I have found I don't do good with blood, apparently. It literally, was not that graphic. It just looked red, but I knew it was blood. And it was such a strange feeling because I felt myself get really, really hot. And then I felt myself like touching the back of this corner. And my like from my toes, I felt to go all the way up my body, this like weird dizziness, like when you have a fever.
Ugh.
And I was like,
Ugh.
I'm so hot right now. And I'm like, I can't pass out. That's embarrassing. I've already taken this piercing like a champ. I've held it together. Like, I can't pass out right now. And he's done. Like, she's sanitizing. Like, everything's going good. So in my head, I'm like, you just have to make it to the car and sit down. Like, you will be fine. And then I kind of feel myself like this. And I'm kind of like grabbing it. And I see a windowsill. So I like kind of put my hand on it. And my sister turns. And I don't remember seeing it. But I remember hearing her say, how does it look? I wake up. My face is bent over now in the chair. My sister is, Shawna, are you okay? Are you okay? And I hear the piercer say, get her in the chair, get her in the chair. And I, like, at this point realize, holy shit, I passed out.
Right.
I saw that blood. I went black. And I can now, like, I'm starting to comprehend that. And I'm trying to speak, but I can't get words out. And my ears are ringing so bad. I did not know that that's something that happens. And so they get me in the chair. It's plastic and leather. So I'm sweating. Like, I can feel how wet my entire body is. Like, I have this open back shirt on. My back stuck to the chair. My thighs are stuck to the chair. He hands me a glass of water. He puts a cold rag on my head. And at this point, when
you told me about like the cold rag on your head, I'm like, you know, like the cats where you throw cheese on their heads, like that's how I thought it. Like this man, like from a distance, like threw this fucking.
It kind of felt it was just like a paper towel that he clearly like dipped in a cup because he put it to my head and water dripped down my face, down my shirt, and then I freaked out because like the water pooled on like the top of my tank top, and I had like the cup in my hand, and he grabbed a tissue and started, and I was like, oh my God, he's gonna touch me, but he's like shoving the tissue in my hand so I can dry myself off, and he's like trying to squeeze the paper towel out. My sister said basically she turned to look at me and my head was rested on the chair, and she was like, do I look good? And like my face was apparently super white. My lips, she was like, they were purple, and your eyes were so bright blue. She was like, you were dead. I thought you were dead. And I was out for about 40 seconds. He was literally telling my sister to grab the smelling salts. Like, that's how long I was out. And she slapped me and I woke up. But it was such a weird feeling. Like, I've never passed out before, but it was just like the adrenaline rush of getting my piercing, standing up immediately, being like, okay, now I'm big sister, gotta protect like little sister and like make sure everything's good, seeing blood, being claustrophobic, got hot. It was so much all at once. And yeah, I just passed out, and now we have that story to tell along with this.
Yeah, I've only ever passed out once, where I guess I was choked out once on a bus. I was going to my friend Joe's house, and he like was just being funny, and I was smaller than him. He was almost 4 times my size, so like he like picks me up and like pins me up against the window, but he pins me up against my neck, and like I wasn't struggling, and then I just woke up next, and I'm like, bro, I completely just woke up. He's like, you didn't just wake up. I was like 12, and the only time I've ever passed out was when he actually choked me out. But
yeah, it was something like I described it. It was like being choked out or being hit or something like that. I imagine you have the cause, like being hit or being choked or whatever. For me, it was like I looked at her, and at no point did I go, ew, blood. I didn't have that thought, but my body was like, we're done. And I just hit the ground. Yeah, it was such a strange. And now I've been sick all day. Like, my body has been like just weak. I feel sick. Like, it's just, I haven't felt good today.
Well, I'm sorry. It's really funny though.
It is. And like I keep saying, I'm like, I'm so embarrassed I can't go back there, but it's not like, oh, I'm so embarrassed like in middle school when you're embarrassed. It's like, I can't believe I fucking did that. I took that piercing like a champ. Like, I didn't even flinch. Like, and I have a really high pain tolerance. So getting the piercing was not the problem. It was watching someone else get pierced, I guess.
Yeah, well, I wonder if it's like the big sister thing, because like, well, I guess there was 2 times I almost passed out. The second time was when I was probably around the same age. My brother all of a sudden just had something wrong with his knee and went to the doctors, and like the doctor was like squeezing his like foot together, and like the pain on Hunter's face was enough for me to almost pass out.
But you are also such an empath. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's like one of your biggest issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely something else. And now, I don't know, it's just a fun story to tell that, yeah, we went and got these piercings together and here's what happened. Next we get tattoos, and I think that's where Shayla's going to pass out. I've got 7 now and I'm fine with them, so.
That's crazy.
It was kind of funny because we called my dad after.
After you called me.
Yeah, well, I called you first, woke you up from a nap. Like, I was like, I passed out and you were like, okay.
Well, I had a weird morning.
Yeah, well, so I called my dad and he was telling me that in December for my sister's birthday, she apparently wants a tattoo. And he was like, well, I'll pay for your tattoo. That can be your gift. And he was like, I want to see her get the tattoo, like kind of joking about it. And I was like, I'd like a tattoo for my birthday. Like, kind of just said it. I was like, do you want to watch me get tattooed? I'll let you pay for it. As if he hasn't already seen me. Like, he went with my first, like, 4. But yeah, so he was like, well, I'd love for you guys to one day get me a tattoo. I'm like, let's just do that for Christmas. We'll just pay for each other's tattoo, I guess. So maybe that's in the cards.
Well, I still got to get my first one, too.
Yeah, so maybe we can all go do that for Christmas.
What next? Oh, Toronto.
Toronto, do we want to get our ice cream out first?
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Okay, so this week, this was on my pick. Logan was kind of not on board, so I hope he gets there. This week we have Ben & Jerry's Phish Food. Let's read the description here. This is a chocolate ice cream with gooey marshmallow swirls, caramel swirls, and fudge fish. Childhood classic of mine.
Childhood classic.
And we've got, instead of our massive waffle cones, we went with the classic just cake cup.
Yeah, because I couldn't be doing giant waffle cones every week. I think I would get sick of ice cream.
You were already sick of ice cream. You didn't even eat the first cone.
I think I am sick of ice cream already.
This is a problem.
Well, I'm glad that's not on camera.
Oh, dear God.
Eventually, everybody's going to want ice cream. Oh, God, I made a fucking huge mess.
Okay, I came prepared.
Oh, no, it's
no.
falling.
Oh, no.
It's falling.
Oh, no.
It's
Oh, no.
falling.
Oh, no. Does nothing to help.
Back now. Sorry for that weird cut. We had melting ice cream issue.
Yes. Yes, I made a huge mess, but it's okay. That's all part of figuring out an ice cream themed podcast, I guess.
So we went to vacation with my family, and we did 5 days in Canada.
Yes.
We started in Toronto. Well, first of all, I've never been to Canada, so the bridge scared the shit out of me.
Yes, I've done it twice. I did my senior year of high school. So I felt like the seasoned veteran, but I was still shitting my pants. I don't know why. It's just like one of those things where it's like, we clearly had nothing to be like suspicious of, but I was still like, oh my God, they're gonna find something on us. Like, all we had in your car was 2 suitcases.
Yeah, and like the Canadian, like on the way into Canada, everybody was just like, have a good day. And like they were just fine. But US border was scary.
Yeah.
But so what was our first day? Mostly a drive, right?
Yeah. We left Wednesday. We did a long drive. We stayed like 40 minutes outside of the city.
Yeah.
In this little like Korean town that was super cute, honestly. Like, we got there, we got to our hotel room, and we left to go get dinner and ended up like in this little tiny like brick sidewalk town to get ice cream after dinner. It was actually really fun. We found a little path, and there was like a waterfall we found just kind of like out of nowhere. Like, it was a gorgeous little town. And then what, did we do the pool? Probably. I think we came back and did the pool.
No, we didn't do the pool until... Oh, we did.
We did the pool on the first day. Because then, so second day, we went to Toronto Zoo. 98 degrees, like 7 hours of walking. I was so over it. It was a lot of fun, but...
Warmest day ever in Canada, I think.
Yeah, we were under a heat advisory the whole time we were up there, which was not fun.
It was so warm. But the zoo was kind of fun. I think I like the Cleveland Zoo better. Honestly, my top zoos so far in life have been John Ball Zoo, Cleveland Zoo, Toronto, and then Detroit. Yeah.
See, and I like, personally, an aquarium more than a zoo.
Me too.
I love Ripley's Aquarium. I did that in Tennessee. That's my favorite because you're inside and the animals are always there. Like you never hit you don't walk for miles to be like, oh, they're in the inside part. We referenced John Mulaney that entire time. His family was so done with us. I just kept going, tell them we're here.
You should do the whole bit. No one understands what we're saying.
Oh, well, it's a whole bit by John Mulaney. We're like going to the zoo and like walking up to an enclosure and there's nothing there. And the employees are like, well, they're probably in the inside part. And he goes, the inside part? Tell them we're here. So like every enclosure we came up to, even the ones that had animals, I was like, tell them we're here. And his mom like just started rolling her eyes when it was my 80th time saying it.
I thought it was funny though.
Yeah, no, it was cool. We saw wombats.
I was about to say, you should tell them about our favorite animal.
Yes, the wombats for sure. We'll have to insert a picture because they were adorable.
I have a video we can insert, I think.
Yeah, I really liked them. And the tiger came really, really close. Same with the polar bear. The polar bear was like a foot away from us. There was just a thin piece of glass between us and a polar bear.
So, yeah, to be completely honest, I'm terrified of all the animals. I know they can all kill me. So the fact that they were that close, I had an existential crisis the whole time.
Yeah, you ruin the zoo every time we go.
I'm so empathetic for the animals. Like, they don't want to be there. Like, that tiger was screaming in anguish, and it just lay down. We're all like, it's so cute. And I'm like, no, it's sad.
Yeah. I don't like that part, but you point it out every time.
Yeah, I unfortunately am a huge bummer to hang out with.
And yet, here we are. And then you and I went into town that night.
That was my favorite part of all of Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah, we went down. We finally saw downtown Toronto. We're just little small town kids. So, like, seeing such a beautiful city, but also feeling so safe.
Yeah.
It was a completely different feeling. Like, you know, I grew up with my dad going down to like Campus Martius in Detroit and like just walking around there and seeing the lights, and we did ice skating and, you know, all of the things down there. But like, there's still that feeling of like not being safe. Like there's still homeless people and drunk people, and just like you hear the sounds of crime on the outskirts of where you're at. But like, you're like, oh yeah, I'm safe right here at this Starbucks. Mm-hmm. But it was in Toronto. It was definitely interesting to feel like we didn't have to be looking over our shoulder. It was all like people our age, like college age, just walking around, like having a good time.
And we walked like in Detroit, like you walk a few blocks and you could be in a really bad spot. Where at Toronto, we walked a few, like multiple blocks in every direction, and we didn't run into any of that. It just kind of felt nice.
Not to say that there isn't, like, I'm sure
totally
we definitely drove into it on the way out, which we'll have to get into that, but yeah, so we ended up going to Party Putt, and it was a little like glow in the dark, like putt bar. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we ended up like we did.
I mean, it was super cool. So like, I love mini golf. So, but like,
that's been our thing since before we were dating was mini golf.
But like, it was such a cool little thing because like, you get like there's like 3 different like 9-hole games in there or whatever, and we paid for all 3 of them, and we got like 3 tokens for like each of our balls that we're gonna use at the thing. But like, all the holes are like super creative. Like the first one was like you had to set your ball in like this little rocker thing and like rock it back and forth so the ball would like zigzag through a maze, and you'd have to get to like the end of the maze to get like a hole in one, but like the farther back, like closer to the start that you got was like more and more strokes. So it was like creative golf, but in a way that like I've never done mini golf, but like for an inside venue, it's really cool. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the way they had the holes, it was some of them like it was just the size of like a ping pong machine. Mm-hmm. So it was or ping pong. What is that?
Arcade machine.
Oh
my God, pinball.
Thank you.
You're right. I forgot.
I said ping pong, and I was like, that's not what I was talking about. It's like the size of a pinball machine to be able to fit, like, it was 27 holes, and it was a very small bar, honestly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it was really nice. And I think, what did I end up getting? 4 holes in one. I definitely kicked his butt.
Yeah, she kicked my ass. But she always does. And to be completely honest, it was really cool though. Like, we're getting to the age where all bars are people our age, and maybe that's why we feel more safe. But It was really cool to walk in and like everybody be our age and like not feel intimidated by anybody and just kind of like do our own thing. Like I got a ball stuck in the operation hole, and like a whole group came over to try to help us get it out, and
Yeah.
we were super awkward and like terrified of everything because we're afraid that everybody's gonna murder us because we live in the States. But but it was overall really fun.
Yeah, we had a really good time. And then we left and disaster struck. Oh my God. Apple Maps does not know what it's doing in Canada. And we were trying to get back to like the expressway to get back to our hotel. And when we first plugged it in, it was like a 23-minute drive. I drank like 1.5 drinks because he didn't finish his. So I was drinking it after I finished mine. And I was like, oh, I have to pee. And this was like when we got back to the parking garage. And he was like, whatever, like it's a 20-minute drive. Like we'll make it. I'll be fine. This map had us go around the same block like 6 different times. It could not figure out where it wanted us to enter. And then finally it was like, turn right, turn right, turn right. It like we keep turning right. And then all of a sudden it's like the last turn it wanted us to do was literally to a chained off driveway into some junkyard looking place.
Well, I think it was it used to be an overpass, but they took it down and like there is no road there anymore.
Yeah. And so our 23-minute drive amounted to like 50 minutes. And I was screaming. Like I was getting so mad because it's like, I was scared because I'm like, now we're driving in very unfamiliar places. There's no other cars. These roads aren't lit. Like this is where I was like, this doesn't feel safe anymore. And I'm also about to pee my pants. Like I have to get to a bathroom. We got back to the hotel. I couldn't even make it to our room. I had to go pee in the hotel lobby because I could not possibly go up 3 flights of stairs.
Yeah, it was interesting, but we got it. Google Maps for the win. I like using like iPhone maps to like do my like daily driving because the app like works better. Like it's more stable, but Google Maps most definitely has the better routing options, I think.
Yeah, it was horrible.
But Google Maps was doing weird shit too, where like we would be driving and then if we sat at a red light too long, it would completely reroute. And
he was getting so mad at me. He's like, you need to tell me when I'm turning. I'm like, I don't know when we're turning. It keeps changing its mind.
So where do we, I guess we go to Castle, where was that?
Casa Loma?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. I think we enjoyed, because when you first start, like you enter on the first floor, obviously, and we went downstairs and we were like, the plan was to like work our way from bottom to top. So we started down in the basement, and the basement had the tunnel, and the tunnel had stuff going all around through it, and it basically like takes you across the street to a garage. And then there was like the horse stables and the antique cars, and they had like a little wax museum of like celebrities that have filmed or like had performances there. Logan ran into Drake there.
I'm posting all of the photos. I'll edit them in here. I'll put the photos of me with Drake here.
Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, I think that was the coolest part. Coming back like to the castle, and going up the stairs and going to the different floors. It was cool. It was definitely cool seeing it, but it's like any museum where it's just like staged bedrooms where it's like, this wasn't the real stuff. Like this was obviously a room, but it's like, that's not the real bedding. This isn't how it was set up. And they're so busy and like people just piss me off. So I was getting so annoyed, and I was already like, I have allergies that I need to medicate, and I don't. So I was already like not able to breathe on this whole trip, and then going into like the dusty crawl spaces and climbing these floors, and it's not air conditioned, and it's still so hot.
There are no windows open either.
Yeah, it was just dusty and hot and sweaty bodies, and I was struggling to breathe. Like I was ready to go. It was cool, but I was
it was
sweating.
cool, but it wasn't that cool. So that was only like a 30-minute drive from the hotel that we just left. But then we had to go to Niagara Falls. And oh my God. I don't know what the 401 is doing, but that motherfucker, that highway needs help. It was horrible this whole time. I'm sorry, I'm squeaking. We need to figure out a different thing.
You need a different chair. You keep moving in that one.
I need a chair that almost doesn't move. I also need a mic stand that doesn't fall. It's driving me nuts. But yeah, the 401 was a horrible time. from Niagara to Casa Loma, it was supposed to be an hour and a half. Or yeah, Casa Loma to Niagara. Either way, it's supposed to be an hour and a half. It took us 3 hours, if not more.
It was such steady traffic. And it wasn't like driving and being like, oh, there's a crash, or oh, there's an exit, or here's a stoplight. It was just...
There was no reason.
Like, people just kept hitting their brakes, and it was backing up so bad. Like, I ended up falling asleep, like, 10 minutes into the ride. I was like, I'm going to close my eyes. And I woke up, and we had literally... It said we had, like, 34 miles, and I woke up, and you had gone too. Yeah. And I had been out for, like, 40 minutes.
And you either are going 90 miles an hour on the 401, or you're going 30 miles an hour, and that's in all lanes. Like in the what our fast lane is could be going 4 miles an hour, but the lane next to you is going 90. It's so ridiculous. We didn't feel like there was speed limits at all.
Yeah,
the whole trip.
Yeah, it was maybe that's just us being stupid Americans, but it like trying to keep the flow of traffic, like because you have like the adjustable cruise control. Yeah. And it was just like we'd be going, and then all of a sudden it like would slam, and our suitcases would hit our backs, and it was just like, what are we stopping for, people? Like there's nothing there.
Yeah, we thought Detroit drivers were aggressive and scary, but it's no comparison to Toronto. It's so much. But I guess that's what you get for having a city that's almost 4 times the size.
Yeah, it was crazy. But getting into Niagara, it was cool. We once we finally found our hotel, we got settled in, and
yeah, we went to the wrong hotel like twice.
Well, his mom didn't send us like necessarily like the name of the hotel. Like she sent us like an address. And so we get downtown Niagara. We're like on the main strip, and my GPS is telling me to turn into Chicken Witch. And I was like, what is Chicken Witch? Like, that can't possibly be right. And so we call his mom, and she's like, oh, well, it's this hotel by... And I'm like, oh, I'm typing it. I'm like, got it. And we click it, and it takes us 15 minutes out of the city. We get there, and it is the shittiest motel. And we pulled in, and he calls his mom, and they're like, we're in our room. And we're like, here? Like, this is terrible. And she's like, at the one with the Denny's? And we're like, oh, like, we must be at the wrong one. We were... Ended up going back. We get to the hotel. There was a Chicken Witch restaurant in the hotel.
Yeah.
So we were there 30 minutes prior.
Yeah, but it's fine.
It was just, and it was like, to be so hot and tired and have driven for 4 hours in bumper to bumper traffic, it was just like, I just want to lay down. I'm so tired. I was so angry. We definitely needed food. So luckily, food was the first thing that happened.
Yeah, but the very first night of Niagara was pretty awesome, honestly. We got there, and my parents were like, well, we're going to take everybody out to dinner. There's 8 of us, right? There's 8 of us that are there, and which is so many people to walk around a busy city with. It's many people.
And we're just so used to being 2 people, like just a couple. And like I grew up in a small family, like it was just me, my dad, and my sister. So it's like, adjusting to your large family, like it's been 4 years, and I'm still like I'm overwhelmed every time. Like it's just so many people, it's so many opinions, it's so many ideas all at the same time, and it gets so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's my life, but I love them. So we walk around the strip for a little bit. We go see the falls for the first time, and we go back to the hotel, and we kind of just chill. I think my parents hit the pool or whatever. Oh, my dad got sick. That's what happened. My dad.
No, we went to dinner that night. We just discussed this.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, we went to dinner when he was sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. You can finish. I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
I have a horrible memory.
Yeah, so they took us to, it's Skylon, I believe.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's the tower restaurant over the falls, and they did it, like they had a reservation, so we went up there at 8 p.m.
Right.
So we had delicious drinks and delicious food and delicious dessert and looked at the falls as they changed color, and we spun around, and it was seriously like such an out-of-body experience, like to have such a fancy meal in such a cool location, and we got to watch the sunset go down. Like we couldn't stop taking pictures.
Yeah, and still bullshit my family and like have a good time. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah. But unfortunately, yeah, your dad did end up getting sick that day, so that we went back and your parents called it a night, and we went back out with your siblings, and we did the Sky Wheel, which is just like the big Ferris wheel. And
I fucking hate Ferris wheels.
yeah, well, I like them, and I was very glad that he committed because my family did Tennessee, and we were in Pigeon Forge, and they had a Ferris wheel, and I really wanted to do it, and we didn't do it. So I was very happy to get to do this one because it was very similar.
Yeah. When I was like 8, I was in a Sandusky fair, the county fair, and there was thunderstorms that day, and someone thought it was a good idea to put me on this Ferris wheel with my like 14-year-old cousin. I'm watching lightning strike the ground around the fairgrounds, and I'm on this Ferris wheel, and I just fucking start bawling. I hated it. But like the guy wouldn't let me down. He let everybody else down and like let more people on before he put me down. And I was just not having a good time. And I've been afraid of Ferris wheels ever since. Can you stop dropping your ice all over my goddamn leg?
Sorry, I'm cracking the second marg here.
I'm going to spill my first. And then we went to the arcade that was there too. And
that's where we got our shot glasses. More shot glasses.
Yeah, want to show them? Or at least the ones we got there.
I don't have the ones that we got there. We bought these ones at the Falls.
Oh, okay.
So I got a little retro looking one.
Wet.
Oh. That's what you get for not fully taking your shot earlier.
What the fuck? I don't drink. This is the biggest fucking shot I've ever had in my life.
And that's Logan's.
I am so sticky. She's dropped ice cream shots.
Listen, we're doing margs and shots, and it's 9:30. Of course, I'm dropping liquid. But yeah, so we did that. We did the arcade. I ended up being really good at like this ball drop game, so we ended up with like 600 tickets.
Yeah, bro. If anybody wants to win tickets, that ball drop game is actually, if you watch the Mark Rober video on how to win all the arcade games, he actually talks about that. Is that good?
Much better than the Tiger's Blood.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I like the Tiger's Blood, so I'm excited.
I liked it, but it had a weird flavor to me. All of these do. Our last day there, we did, well, it rained like crazy. We went from 98 degrees down to like, I think it was 70. Yeah. And we didn't bring jeans or anything because it was showing that it was just supposed to be 90 the whole time. So we were so cold. Yeah, so we did IHOP and then the Wax Museum.
Yeah.
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
The Wax Museum was kind of...
It was cool. You saw Drake again.
I did. I have 2 pictures of Drake.
I don't know. I found out that I don't like wax figures. I've never seen them before, like not in person, and I was real freaked out.
Yeah, you were doing okay in Casa Loma, and then all of a sudden you like look at me and go, you know, I really don't like this.
Well, it was like the first couple weren't that realistic, and then all of a sudden they were so realistic, and you could get right next to them. Like the first ones that we saw were so far away.
Yeah.
And then it was just like suddenly like I could look at their eyes and they followed, and I was like, I don't like this actually. I'm kind of creeped out.
The X-Men in Casa Loma freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because you get like right up next to them and so close. Ripley's was cool, I guess. I think Ripley's in that we would have.
I think we were like at the point where we were like almost out of our vacation money, and we would have done something different. But it was cool for what it was.
For sure.
It definitely got us through the rain because I was not walking around in that garbage poncho.
Like, well, I bet anything we would have done when it was raining like that, it would have just been a similar vibe. I don't think honestly we did a bad thing. I think it just would have been that vibe.
Yeah.
Because there was a Frankenstein's Funhouse or whatever that was across the street. And like that didn't seem any more fun.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff like definitely geared towards kids. I mean, we could have done the arcade, but like we had done the arcade before, and you'd have to spend so much money for us to have lasted through that rain because it rained for like 4 hours.
Yeah, it rained a long time. I gotta wear another poncho.
Yeah, you have a weird obsession with ponchos.
I really like ponchos. I don't know why. I have this blue one when I do live sound that I can't fucking wait until it rains so I can throw it on.
So ridiculous. Hate a poncho. I've never worn one, and then I wore one for this, and I was like, I am still wet, overstimulated now because now I've got a weird plastic bag over my entire body. It wasn't keeping my legs dry. I'm like, I'd rather just hold an umbrella.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't. And then to have, like, I had to put my hood on from my jacket to keep the hood of the plastic from blowing off my head. I was so overstimulated. Like, I was freaking out.
Yeah. And then while it was still raining, we got tickets to the Maid of the Mist. And, well, to the Hornblower, because we're on the Canadian side.
Oh, my God. Ridiculous.
Anyway, it's the same fucking thing. But we got another poncho, and I fucking double layered that shit.
Yeah, we all double layered up our ponchos.
Yeah, but I felt really cool.
I didn't. I felt like a trash bag, but everyone else was wearing a trash bag, so I dealt with it.
You did not necessarily enjoy the Maid of the Mist.
I wanted to, but I have really light sensitive eyes, and so getting down there, it suddenly was so bright. And I couldn't, like, I was squinting so hard I could barely open my eyes. And then when I did open my eyes, my glasses were covered in water and I took them off and then I was blind. So I'm like, I can't see anything anyhow. This was kind of a waste of $30.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I had an experience where I felt like a main character in a adventure movie where like you run into the huge waterfalls and you're about to break through them and you go fight a big snake or some shit like that. Yeah, that's how I felt. It was pretty dope.
You hold your margarita.
I know.
That's so weird.
Someone's gonna make fun of me.
But yeah, so that we did the Maid of the Mist and then we did the pool.
Oh, that was so nice.
Yeah, they had a pool that like connected to the outside pool.
Yeah, it was basically two pools. There's an outside pool and there's an inside pool, but they had a little like a hole cut in the wall that you could go in between, and it was
nice. It was so cold outside, so like the pool water out there would feel really cold, and then the pool would be like a nice medium, and then we'd get in the hot tub. We just did that for like 2 hours.
And I sat in the sauna for probably about a good solid 30 minutes, and I want one of those. So
I did not like it. I got really freaked out in the weird wooden room.
She didn't even sit in there for 5 minutes.
No, it was terrible. I didn't like it. Yeah, so we did that. And
well, you can't breathe in general, and it's hard to breathe.
I can't breathe right now. You can probably hear it. You can cut that.
Oh my God.
Definitely cut that. But yeah, so we did that, and then we went back out and did the dinosaur putt-putt course and the race cars, and we did dinner at Kelsey's, which was delicious. Had a lot of drinks there, and yeah, that was next morning. We packed up and headed home. So glad to come back and see our puppos. And
oh, we missed our dog so much. Where is he? Should we call him in?
No, he's probably chilling on the couch being a good boy.
Okay, you're probably ready to become a spaz.
But yeah, I guess that we can use this to transition into a segment we'd like to introduce called Chester Chews.
Jesus Christ.
What did Chester chew this week? My sister and her boyfriend were here for the last 4 days of our trip, dog sitting. And she called us, hey, just so you know, there's like a yellow stain on the rug. He's been throwing up. Okay, like sometimes he does this. Like we give him a bone when we leave, and sometimes the bone makes him throw up. And he has a tendency to, like, he needs fiber. He's eaten our curtains in the past. And he's attacked multiple blankets I keep draped on the couch. And so they were like, yeah, like he keeps throwing up, but like they were right there with him and letting him outside to go eat grass and whatever. So it seemed okay. They rolled the rug up and everything. We get home. He seemed okay. We went to work Monday, no issues. Tuesday, so it was 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up to like a banging noise, and it must have been him like jumping off the couch or something.
I think it was him. When he licks the floor, he kind of like rubs his body up against the wall. I think he slammed his body up against the wall. He was licking the walls.
Whatever it was, it woke me up. And we have a camera out in the living room. So I was like, well, I'll just check it from here. And I saw him doing circles around our island. And I was like, it looks like he's licking the floor. And then all of a sudden he's like out of frame just a little bit. So I got up and I walk out there and he's chewing on the curtain, which thank God we have not replaced these curtains because like we're renting. So it was like, whatever, when we're about to move out, we'll replace these because he just keeps doing this. And so he like had the curtain in his mouth and I grabbed him and I was like, let's go outside. Like, let's go outside. And I take him to the door and I literally had to pull the curtain out of his mouth. Like he was eating it so much. And then I let him out, and, that was a whole ordeal. We were exhausted on Wednesday.
Well, I stayed up, and I let you go back to bed. And
yeah, because it was like an hour before we get up for work, and I fell back asleep, but you went laid on the couch, and he seemed okay. We left for work. And then we came home, and Wednesday I found him.
Well, I did. So I did everything I could. I put all the curtains up on the rods. Like, I made sure he couldn't get to anything. But I left the blanket on the couch.
Yeah. And I come home and I immediately let him outside, and I'll go sit out there with him. So like I didn't even see it, but I came around the corner and there was like thrown up pieces of white cloth, and I was like, that looks like the blanket I have on the couch. And sure enough, he ate an entire edge of the blanket and threw it back up. Oh, so we had to go buy another blanket and clean that up. And then today he woke up and threw up again, and this time it was, it was not his typical bone throw up. I think he's trying to now process all the fabric he's eaten, and it's been a day. His stomach is like, we can hear his stomach making noise across the room.
Yeah.
So I don't know. If
it doesn't stop soon, I'll probably go take him in somewhere.
Yeah, I'm getting a little nervous, but I don't know. I don't know what he was given when we were gone.
I know.
Because he's not doing well. He probably had a little too much human food, but he's so cute. I understand giving him human food. We struggle with that.
Should we talk about Barbie movie and Oppenheimer?
Yes, we must. So I guess our What's the Scoop segment here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the week before we went to Canada, the Barbie and Oppenheimer release happened, and we ended up going to Barbie on opening day and then Oppenheimer the next day.
It was awesome,
yes.
Honestly.
We had a very, very good time. Obviously, I was more intrigued in the Barbie movie. I did not know what to expect going in. I saw like the previews, and to me it looked more like a Don't Worry Darling situation, with like the simulation kind of breaking, like her going into the real world and everything. But
kind of, but not really.
Kind of, but not really. I was pleasantly surprised with the feminist message behind this movie, and not even just that. Like, I've seen so many complaints, and I could not wait to talk about this. So many complaints about how this movie is anti-man, but the whole, like, you watched the same ending I did. The whole point was that the patriarchy crushes everyone.
Yeah.
The male, like, invalidation of, like, needing to feel masculine and, like, toxic masculinity and, like, not being enough and needing to fight for women's attention and needing to fight against your fellow man, but, like, also being a woman and having your rights stripped away. And, like, it was just such a good movie. I spent the whole movie just bawling my eyes out. Like, I could not stop crying because it, like, oh, I keep seeing Brittany Broski, like, referring to it as, like, the audio of, God, I love being a woman. Like,
I really do want the Kenneth, or what is it?
Like Knuff? I don't know.
Yeah, it's Knuff. Like, I am Ken enough the words combined. I want one of those shirts so bad.
Of course you do. Everyone does.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was such a good movie. And it was one of those movies where it's like we left and I felt like this is a movie that could turn this generation. Like, I literally asked them, like, how old do you think our kids are going to have to be to see that? Like, we're by no means, like, expecting children anytime soon. But I was like, what age could I show our daughters that? You know, like...
And I thought of them, like, 12. But I'm like, no, like, always. Always is the answer. Like, they need to understand that they're empowered and they're comfortable and they don't need to be the way that society has portrayed them.
But also for our sons, you know, like, it's just
right
to have that same message that, like, we don't need to live in this society that stifles creativity and passion and love and individuality. Like, it is one of those things, and I think that you and I are both really feeling it as of late, just this, what is our place in this world? Where do we belong? Like, everything's so expensive. Our careers don't make sense. Like, luckily we are, like, fortunate enough to have each other. Like, there's a lot of people our age who are also single amongst all this and have college debt. You and I don't have that. Like, to be in this world that just, like, feels like everything is out against us, like,
you're gonna make me cry.
I know. I don't know. It was a good movie to, like, put into perspective that like everything is taken so seriously, and to be yourself and love life. Like I was so happy that like that movie portrayed that.
Should we go into Oppenheimer?
Oh, if we must.
I fucking loved this movie.
I liked it. It was
Which
good.
I was so surprised about. I did not think you were going to like the movie.
I like movies like I can get into movies like that. My complaint with Oppenheimer was that it was 3 hours long.
Yeah, she didn't like the parts where they started doing all the math and started talking about the engineering and like how they were building this stuff. She's like, I just want to like, you can cut all that out. Just blow the shit up and like.
Well, like, it could have been a montage. I did not need an hour of this man like pursuing sexual passions and writing stuff on a chalkboard, and it was just so much.
All the science and stuff behind it, I was so interested in. So it's like to see that all play out the way it actually happened was so cool to me. Like that's my engineering brain, and like I want to know how things work. Yeah. And I understand atomic weapons so much more now that
perfect. No, I
know that's a really fantastic thing to do, but like it was so interesting to me because like you didn't know almost any of that. I didn't know the majority of that.
Yeah.
So
I can't remember who I saw talk about it, but they were like, the one thing I would have liked to have seen would have been like more of a timestamp, because as someone like I didn't like history, like I don't know. I wasn't interested in it in high school. I didn't have like a severe background. You could name something, like, I don't know what year that happened. So like not to have like, it never gave like a year that it was like, I didn't know when we were set. Like I understand that it was like, you know, the like nuclear race and everything, but
yeah, so it was staged like, so before, like the process was started before World War II, and the movie didn't end until like the 60s or before the Cold War. So like the whole movie spanned from like 42 to like 55-ish, somewhere around there. So it was a huge span of time. And I understand why, if you didn't understand when it was placed, why you wouldn't. Unless you picked up on the small, like, well, like there's one guy that they had a scientific discovery and they were expecting to be in the newspaper, and one guy came in like, well, the Nazis beat you, like, got the coverage, and it was talking about how the Nazis invaded Poland. So like unless you picked up on those small little details to like show you what time it was, you would never know.
Yeah, and I have no idea what that kind of stuff.
At that point, it feels like a science fiction movie.
Yeah,
because you have no idea when it is and when it's happening. But Oppenheimer was great. Barbie movie was great. I'm glad that we saw them both.
Yes,
as early as we did, and it changed my perspective in multiple different ways. So you got Am I the Asshole this week?
I do. Yes. I have been sitting on this one. I found this one a couple weeks ago, and I've been very excited to read it.
Is this one ice cream based like the last?
Of course.
Awesome.
Are we ready?
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for eating ice cream directly out of the tub?
We'll see.
I'm currently staying with my in-laws. Before we came to visit, my mother-in-law asked me what pregnancy cravings I was having because she wanted to make sure they had them for me. I mostly crave chocolate fudge brownie ice cream, and they bought a lot of it for me. I was eating it directly out of the tub since it never lasts more than 2 days max, and nobody else was eating it as far as I was aware. My mother-in-law's goddaughter has been here for a few days now too, and she saw me eating the ice cream from the tub and told me I was being gross because someone else could have wanted some, and I should use a bowl instead of just eating it directly from the tub. I told her I was going to eat it all anyway, and she accused me of being greedy. I started crying because we kept arguing over it, and she kept making me feel awful. My husband saw me crying and was furious with her. My mother-in-law has been trying to smooth things over between everyone, but my husband is still angry at her, and she's angry at me because she thinks I cried on purpose to make him angry at her. Oof. Am I the asshole?
My perspective is that if someone's like, even though you're going to someone else's house and they say, what do you want? you should always assume if you're at someone else's house, someone else might want some. It's not your own house. It's not like someone brings your ice cream to your own house. You're like, this is my ice cream.
Right.
This is their ice cream that they bought for you, but other people could have wanted it.
Yeah, and that's so I read through the comments, and like there was a lot of people who were like, well, the mother-in-law bought it for you, but again, like you were saying, this is someone else's house. Like, can you at least have the decency to put it in a bowl?
Especially because it sounds like a lot of people still live there.
Yeah, well, and to say like, oh, this is your pregnancy craving, like we bought this for you, unless it had like her fucking name on it,
Right.
like,
or it was like one of the small little pints. Like,
yeah, like, well, okay, this is here for you, but like, yeah, someone else could want it, but like, I don't know. There was one guy in the comments who, of course, was going on about how like, oh, I hate how pregnant women like use being pregnant as the excuse, and it's like, if this is her pregnancy craving and the mother-in-law bought it specifically for her to have as her pregnancy craving, are we seriously going to be mad at her for eating it? Yes, you're at someone else's house. To be in your own house, whatever. I eat the ice cream out of the carton all the time because it's just you and me here.
You're right.
But like, if I'm going to have guests over, I'm not eating out of that ice cream carton. Like, it's a different story.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, the main thing I take issue in, I don't think she's the asshole for doing it. I think it was definitely inconsiderate. I don't think she cried on purpose, but I think the fact that they continued to argue about this, just like be like, sorry, and like, it sounds like there were multiple tubs. Eat the next tub out of a bowl.
Yeah, I think.
Like, to sit there and have an argument with this kid over ice cream, like, can we all grow up?
Yeah, like, how old was... Did it say how old the sister was?
Mm-mm.
So she could be anywhere from like 14
it said the mother-in-law's goddaughter.
So it could be like 14 to a grown adult. Who knows? But yeah, it doesn't seem like it doesn't in the grand scheme of life. It means nothing. No. But like, yeah, I think the pregnant lady should have had more foresight, saying like, this isn't my house. I should like be more. Less selfish,
like considerate.
Yeah,
of
more
others.
Considerate, less selfish.
Well,
and
this
then,
isn't your home, but
also like the sister really didn't need to go in that hard.
Yeah,
on this lady.
It was definitely interesting. I don't know. I thought that one was. All of these, like some of the Am I the Assholes that like I listen to on other podcasts, I get so into it, and these ones like being ice cream based, I'm like, ultimately none of this matters. Like you all need to just chill. Like it's ice cream related, but like to me, like. The thing that I find interesting is at least these last two stories have been like an underlying issue of like, like the last girl, like, oh, well, you're a glutton. Like that's something that needs to be addressed. Like this roommate issue. And like, this is like, if this is an adult, like to sit there and like belittle this woman for eating ice cream, like it's just grow ridiculous. Up. And if it's a kid, it's like, that sucks. But like, as the adult in the situation, why are you engaging in that? Like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I don't know.
I bet we'll run into those type of situations eventually in our life, but...
She was voted the asshole. I don't necessarily know that I would...
Yeah.
It was asshole behavior, but I don't think she is an asshole. I think in the grand scheme of things, everyone's an asshole in this one.
Yeah, I agree. Except the husband. A husband, for the first time, on any Am I the Assholes, might have been in the right.
I don't know.
From the wife's perspective.
I think to still be mad. I don't know. It's all just so much. It's all over ice cream. Can we all get over ourselves?
Yeah. But that's going to be our whole podcast is ice cream, am I the asshole?
I know.
So it's going to be really funny to see how angry people get about
ice
the dumb.
Cream. Yeah.
It should be fun.
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap it up here, you think?
Yeah, I think this is a good place to end it.
Well.
I'm feeling my margaritas. I'm ready to go take a hot shower.
Cool. Well, go follow our Instagram.
At Freezer Friends Pod.
Yep. So go follow our Instagram.
Pod or podcast?
Just pod. Go follow our Instagram at Freezer Friends Pod. It's going to be in the description of everything. That's really our only social media at this point, and where we're going to post all of our content.
Send us a Gmail at freezerfriendspod@gmail.com.
If you have like funny ice cream Am I the Asshole stories.
Ice cream suggestions, if you'd like to see us try. I guess we never really rated our ice cream.
It's pretty average.
yeah, I give Phish Food like a 9.5 out of 10. It's one of my favorites.
It was a 6.5 at
Oh
most.
no, I love it. The marshmallow, the chocolate, the caramel.
It was good, but it was.
I have a thing about the crunchy pieces. I don't like the fishes. That is my biggest complaint.
I think we're gonna eventually understand that my ice cream scale. You
just don't like ice cream. Why do we agree to an ice cream podcast?
Your favorite ice cream and my least favorite ice cream, or like your favorite ice cream, least favorite ice cream, are gonna be so much drastically different than my favorite and my worst. It's gonna be a much more condensed. Where it's gonna be a separate scale. Like mine's gonna be 1 to 5.
Yeah, we'll see where we're at next week when you pick the flavor.
Oh yeah, I gotta do that. Well, I appreciate everybody listening. Like you said, go follow the Instagram. We will be posting next week probably.
Yes.
So we'll see you then.
See you then. Stay cool.
Stay cool. Bye.
Bye. Our premise is melting.